Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, I'm super excited because we finally get to talk the new sunscreen launch from The Ordinary. Now, The Ordinary have been without a sunscreen in their collection for around 2 years. They discontinued their previous SPF, which, let's be honest, nobody missed. That product was awful. It was thick, it was greasy, it left a noticeable white cast, and so they've used the last 2 years to reformulate, try and test a new product. And we're going to see, have The Ordinary redeemed themselves when it comes to their SPF game? Sit back, relax, let's talk the new sunscreen from The Ordinary. Now, in today's video, these are my thoughts, feelings, and opinions when it comes to this SPF, and I want to know yours. Having watched to the end of the video, let me know, is this a product that you're going to rush out and buy on launch? If it is, let me know by leaving the heart emoji down in the comment section below. Or is this a product that you just don't think can compete with the amazing Korean, European, and Australasian sunscreens that we already have on the market? If that's your thoughts, leave the cross emoji and state why. I always feel that skincare is like a journey that we're all on together, so I really do value your thoughts and opinions, and I want to hear from you guys. Now, today's video is entirely sponsorship and paid partnership free. The Ordinary actually sent out advanced copies of this sunscreen to lots of content creators that they're going to be doing sponsored ads and posts with. I didn't receive it because I don't do sponsorships or paid partnerships here on the channel, but a friend of mine does and was very kind to let me have a little tryout of the product ahead of the launch so I can bring you guys this video today. If you value independence in the skincare space and want to support me as an independent content creator, the very best way of doing it is by reaching down and giving this video a big thumbs up and a like. You will never see a paid partnership or sponsorship here on the channel because I think by turning down that coin, it just helps me to retain my independence. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all you guys because the support you show me just makes this possible. Now, without further ado, let's cut that waffle and delve straight on in. So let's quickly start with a bit of an overview of what the product is. So it's going to be called the Ordinary SPF 45 Serum, delivering an SPF of 45, but also broad spectrum coverage. So you're also getting decent protection against UVA rays too, which I love to see. It's going to be using older style filters, the ones that are approved for use in the US by the FDA. This means it's a truly global sunscreen that can be sold in the US alongside other territories like where I'm here in the UK. That might be a red flag to some people because I know a lot of the sunscreen aficionados like their new generation filters, but I always think the proof of the pudding is in the eating, or in this case, the application. And so we really need to see how it performs before we make any judgment on that. The Ordinary claim that this is a super lightweight serum style sunscreen that's suitable for daily use, won't leave a light white cast, and will feel truly invisible on the skin. The retail price of this in the UK is £15, and in the US, the dollar equivalent is $19. And for that, you get 50 ml of product, which is broadly in line with the average size of a facial sunscreen. So far, so good, but I do have some thoughts on this that I'm going to come on to. So first of all, I want to talk about my experience applying it, but then we're going to come on to the pros, the positives, the cons, and I'll summarize it all at the end. So I only got to try this out once. Like I say, I had to go to a friend that is going to do a paid collaboration with The Ordinary and try it out. And I found that this sunscreen did genuinely leave a truly weightless finish on the skin. There was no heaviness to it. It did disappear really nicely. I also found that it applied really well in terms of being able to massage it in without it pilling, balling up, or budging, which if you remember the original sunscreen from The Ordinary, the pilling was unreal. Well, no pilling whatsoever here. There was no noticeable white cast either, and that's to be expected because this, after all, is a chemical sunscreen, so a well-formulated chemical sunscreen shouldn't leave any distortion on the skin, and this one absolutely didn't. It didn't sting my eyes at all, though I will caveat to say I have pretty resilient skin around my eyes. I tend to not get too much sensitivity from sunscreens, so maybe I'm not the best candidate to determine whether this is good for sensitive eyes or not, but I didn't get any irritation or stinging whatsoever. What I did notice though is it left a very dewy finish to the skin. So if you're someone that likes that luminosity, that radiance, that dewiness post application, you will love this. If you're someone that likes a more matte finish, I'm going to guess it's probably not going to be for you. Now, I did take some pictures of me post-application, but the lighting was terrible. So what I am going to actually do is link a video by one of my favorite content creators online over on Instagram, actually, Sam by the Counter, who is a fantastic content creator here on YouTube and over on Instagram. I'll link his Instagram post down in the comments and in the description box. Check that out because you can actually see the application and just how dewy this actually translates. I don't want to include a picture of his application here because I don't think that would be fair or professional, but I will link his content if you want to check that out. For me, it was just definitely on the dewier side, which is something I think people should be aware of. But it wore well all day, it didn't ball up, and it didn't cause any irritation for me. So we're going to talk about the pros and the cons. Most of the Ordinary new releases recently had been absolute slam dunks, like ding, 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 10 out of 10 products. This definitely isn't in that category. There are some pros and there are some cons. Let's start with the positives first. So it is very, very light for sunscreen using FDA approved filters. I will say I think this is the best US sunscreen that I've ever found. In terms of that lightweight finish and how it feels on the skin, it's definitely up there with the best. This is phenomenal because if you're in the US and you want to buy your sunscreen in a physical retail store, this is probably the best option that you're going to find. Genuinely lightweight, didn't leave any ashiness or distort the skin tone in any way, and was a really, really nice formulation. I like the blend of different filters they've used to achieve that broad spectrum protection. And I think this, for the US market, is phenomenal. For us that are shopping in the European Union, we're accustomed to the newer generation filters that come out of Korea, Australasia, the EU. I think this isn't going to be anything groundbreaking or new. And actually the newer generation filters, for me at least, I think still provide better protection, a nicer finish on the skin, and less risk of sensitivity. However, if you're in the US and you want to go into a physical store and buy like the best sunscreen available, this is it. It's not our fault as consumers that the FDA are so ridiculously behind the times with their sunscreen approvals. That's their fault, it's not ours. And I like the fact that US consumers now have access to a really nice, light and elegant formula. Though I don't think this is going to be necessarily groundbreaking to those of us that are used to our Korean sunscreens. This kind of in the same ballpark as that, I would say, in terms of application. Now, the price point, I think, is another fair. You know, this is roughly, again, the similar price point to what you'd expect to pay for a Korean sunscreen in the same volume. So I think the price is fine. It's not going to be the cheapest option out there, but it's also not ridiculously expensive. So to have a really nice, elegant sunscreen at that price point, I think is really fair. And if you like a dewy finish to your sunscreen, and I know people out there do, you will absolutely love this and the way it feels on the skin. When it comes to the cons, though, the reason I say this isn't the slam dunk like a lot of the recent launches by The Ordinary have been is there are quite a few cons that come with it. So obviously, old filters. You know, these use older style filters, which are FDA approved. I understand why The Ordinary have done this because they want to be able to sell this product in the US in physical locations. I get that. But like I say, for those of us that like those newer generation filters, which I feel provide a better protection, just feel better on the skin, this probably is going to be a step backwards. Now, the Crave Beauty, which did this product, this is the Beat the Sun, which was their like best-selling sunscreen. They now actually do two versions of this. They do this one, which is the US approved one, and they do another for the rest of the world. I kind of expected The Ordinary to do that, to have the two different formulations, one for the US market, one for the rest of the world that can use those new generation filters. I don't think this is going to have the same appeal in the rest of the world as it will in the US. If that makes sense. Also, you need to be mindful that the older style filters used in here, particularly avobenzone, which is one of the ones used to protect against UVA rays, can be sensitizing around the eye to certain people. So if you have very sensitive eyes, this might not be the sunscreen for you. As I said earlier, I had no issue with that, but if you've got very sensitive eyes, this could cause some sensitivity and irritation because avobenzone is an ingredient that's known for that. Another big con is it's not going to be available everywhere. So this isn't going to be available in Australia, it's not going to be available in Canada, and it's not going to be available in Korea either. I think the reason for that is Australia has some very, very stringent regulations when it comes to sunscreens. I've just put my own brand sunscreen through that testing, and it takes a long time. So I think they're probably just working through that now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this launch in Australia maybe in like 6 months' time. I'm not sure what the reasons for it not launching in Canada, especially because The Ordinary is a Canadian brand, or in Korea, I'm not sure of that, but just to be aware that it's not going to be available everywhere, and so that is something that needs to be taken into account based on where you're viewing this from. I do wish they'd done 2 versions. I guess my summary is I wish they'd done 2 versions of this, one for the US market, one for everybody else, because I think whilst it's nice that US consumers do have a genuinely lightweight, elegant sunscreen that they can walk into a physical store and buy that conforms to the outdated regulations of the FDA, I think that's great. For the rest of the world, I think we'll find this a little bit, it's okay. I like that it's tried and tested, that they've used that SPF 45, which honestly, the difference between SPF 45 and 50 is minuscule, but I like the fact they've used the actual figure, so they've tested it and we know exactly what we're getting. I love that it's broad spectrum, and I love the fact that The Ordinary, which is the world's biggest skincare brand online, is coming out with a sunscreen, which hopefully will lead to far more people actually using sunscreen, which is the main thing. That to me is a big tick in the box. But I think for those of us that, know our sunscreens, have shopped around, we have our favorites, I don't think this is going to be anything game-changing or new. What do you guys think? What do you guys, having reached it this far, through a load of waffle, what do you guys think? For me, I have an order. I reached out to The Ordinary and said, can you actually send me another one so I can do a full application for you guys as part of the skincare routine? And that will be coming in the next week. So you can see that in all its glory, how it wears. I'll apply a little makeup over it so you can see how it applies under makeup. I will do all of that. That's coming in the next week. But in the meantime, what's your thoughts on this? Is this a product that you're gonna rush out and buy, try, or is this just one that you think you already have your sunscreen favorite? There's nothing new here. Sound off in the comments section below. I just wanted to get ahead of the barrage of sponsored content that's on its way so that you guys have a truly independent opinion and thoughts when it comes to this product. So hopefully this has been useful for you. If it has, don't forget to reach down and give the video a like. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, I love your skin. Take care. Bye.